I want to make this video about a subject that's have, has been on my mind for a very long time, and I have had to deal with this stuff almost for decades, and I would like to call this video my two chronic diseases, and how I have somehow managed them. And these two, one is some health issues like diabetes and the consequences of it, and the other one is chronic disease that I never wanted it, and I had nothing to do with its creation and its longevity or its propagation, but it has been with me. It's like getting shingles. You never really want to have it, but this second chronic disease it comes from society, and it's called low wages, chronic low wages, and grappling with bad companies that they don't pay, and there's all these problems, and also dealing with social issues that come from racism, and also from animosity that the U.S. government generates by constantly going to war. These problems, there is just very little I could have done in my life. I usually am very peaceful and don't want any participation, but I have had to deal with these issues. Let's start with the diabetes, and when I was 34, well, now I'm 57, so that's how about 23 years ago. I noticed that I'm drinking a lot of water, and my thirst wouldn't go away, and I was also very fatigued. So I went to one of the Sufi teachers, and he was also a doctor, and told me that you got diabetes, you need to go take medications. And I went and took a medication called glipizide that makes your pancreas secrete more insulin. So that kind of subsided the problem, and I wasn't thirsty as much. And this problem with type 2 diabetes went on for many years, and then I don't know, it was 10 years ago. I didn't have a very active lifestyle, and I guess my circulation was not very good, so I also was developing cramps in my legs and my back, and they were bothering me. So I kept going to the doctor, and finally one of them told me that your diabetes, your blood sugar is very high always, and you need to take insulin now. That will be helpful. And he also gave me other medications, glucophage or metformin, and the other one was Genovia. They help the cells take the insulin into the cell and burn it there, and they brought down my sugar significantly. So but the one thing that really helped me overcome my diabetes, type 1 diabetes now, was the fact that I started doing cardio, and I'm doing 1.5 hours of cardio. I do half hour of mill, half hour of ergonomic bike, which is like a hand bike, and then a half hour of like just a regular stationary bike, and that really has helped me a lot. And my muscles are all really hard now, and I've been doing that for a couple of years, or a little less than 2 years, or a year and a half maybe. Okay, so I also developed, before I started cardio, developed some symptoms of diabetes, and lack of circulation or activity was that I got infection in my toes. I lost one of my toe, and the other one I lost half of it, and I fought this for a long time. I tried to prevent losing them, but you can't do that really. You have to be very active, and you cannot sit around. In fact, when I sit around, I get backache. I have to get up and walk around, and the other issue with diabetes is that people who a lot of people have diabetes and they don't want to acknowledge it, and also fatigue and depression are also side effects of diabetes. Diabetes is quite manageable. There is nothing fantastic about it. You just take your insulin and you do your cardio, and you have to take vitamins and take your pills. There is nothing that's out of this world about it. I mean, maybe they'll come up with pumps and other ways of dealing with it, but chronic disease like diabetes, even the most advanced cases like me, are quite manageable. You could do your cardio, take your insulin, and your sugar will come down to 130, 150, which is very good for a diabetic. Okay, so this problem is not something that I consider it at this point something significant, even though I got infection in my left eye and I'm wearing a glass eye. Oh, and I did have a mild heart attack, but all of that stuff I have been able to manage it, and my doctor has told me that my heart has healed, and on the eye I couldn't do anything with it except get a glass eye. But as bad as my symptoms were, and as bad as all the issues that I've had, I still don't think that my diabetes is unmanageable, and I don't get depressed over it, and I don't give up. I go at it every single day. I mean, it's a chronic disease, but it's not as bad as my other chronic problems. So I mean, I don't look at it as hopeless. It's not true. I had some knee problems. I had the knee surgery, and I had to spend some like 2 weeks in what they call those things, rehab. But this one was more for people who were also weren't able to walk, or and I don't know if you have been in convalescent homes or places like that. This is one place that I never want to go back, because many people there, they cannot walk, and they have to the smell will tell you what's going on. And even though they have very good air conditioning and air suction and all that, they take excellent care of everything. But once you have been there a week or two, you know you never want to go back, and no matter what they say, I work on my cardio on my legs every single day, because I never want to be in that situation. I mean, I want to die while walking. Okay, this is the I do not want that kind of lifestyle, and I do not want to live with other older people, because it's just source for depression and more problems. So I basically adopted a very active life, and also I take a lot of vitamins, vitamin B12, which is depleted because you take metformin depletes B12 and many other types of B vitamins, B complexes, and I take a lot of vitamin C, almost a gram of it, and many other vitamins. Anything that I feel that I'm missing, like chromium and other stuff that help lower the sugar. Also, I take a lot of herbs for other dysfunctions that I have, and they help a lot. And the other thing is that I read a lot, I watch a lot of videos, and I keep very active mental life. I don't just sit and mope around, okay? And I think about stuff. I don't believe in depression and giving up. So this chronic problem has had solutions, and I've adopted those solutions, and they're working out. They're not something that I am sorry for in any way. The other thing is that I live with family, and I will continue to live with family. I do not believe in living alone, and I pursue women. I do want to be with somebody that I like, and these things, they help me maintain my physical and mental health. And believe me, mental health, it matters a lot. The other chronic disease and problem that I had, and I had nothing to do with creating this problem, it just was there, is the fact that I came from Iran after 1978, which was only 1 year after I'd come here. The Iranian people kicked out Shah, which was a US puppet, and the relations deteriorated. So basically all these years I've lived in a place where the government either quietly or a lot of times openly condemns Muslims, condemns Iranians, and even though I'm white, I have lost a lot of jobs, and I get a lot of flack, and there is discrimination, and a lot of institutions that belong to the government or big companies, I struggle with them. They are troublesome companies. And I was living in East Coast, and over there in New England, most of the jobs were just hotels and restaurants, and they're not stable jobs. They don't pay good at all, and I used to struggle like hell to hang on to jobs, and it was a huge challenge. So finally, I got very tired because I was spending so much time finding jobs and trying to hold on to them, and the population seemed often very hostile and unfriendly. So I just gave up, said I'm going to move out of here. I moved someplace where there's a lot of jobs, and there's other minorities, they live there. So I came to Southern California, and it was a little bit difficult in the beginning. So the issue is that I never liked the way many U.S. companies treat employees. The jobs are always very low paying, or close to minimum wage, and they're unstable. Everybody's shuts up about everything in the workplace. And I went through many jobs, and I was never happy. The only time that I have been happy with my income was when I was working as a taxi driver. I had better income, and also when I had my own business distributing electronics and video games, I was making better money. I had more control over my lifestyle and my income. But other than that, it has always been a lot of challenge until I went blind on my left eye, and I went on disability, and now I have a job plus disability, so I'm not stressing. But if I didn't have my disability, I would still be struggling. So there never was any kind of solution to this chronic problem. Even though I went and got graduate degrees, and there always were a lot of problems trying to get jobs that paid better or get professional jobs, and the companies kept outsourcing those jobs, and it just became a huge struggle. And I basically, even now, I don't know how to cope with this issue. Or with diabetes, I found all these ways of overcoming diabetes, and keep my spirit. And but dealing with an outside company or outside the institutions is just the other thing that I really hated about the working for American companies was that their technology and the jobs, they constantly change, and they're always like I'm always going from one entry level job to another entry level job. They totally suck. I've worked for foreigners, and I've had much easier time working for foreigners, for Arabs even. But so I always look at the U.S. companies as just totally against employees, with absolutely no morals in any shape or form. I don't know how other people cope, but I know that there are many Americans that had very good jobs. They have lost their jobs, and they are also in the same place that I am. But I am in a better place because I get disability. But this is a chronic disease that society imposes on itself. And on top of all this crap is that the government takes all this money and goes on to foreign wars, and has been successful in overthrowing many Middle Eastern countries. Well, I'm from there, and all these years, these worries about United States invading Iran too, and killing a lot of Iranians has been ongoing, unending source of worry and misgivings, and many politicians, American politicians, make statements very hostile to Iran or Muslims, and it's just something it is another chronic disease. This is something that I have never been able to resolve. But most Iranians and the way they are, and I am myself, when I look back at the way I thought before I was in this culture, is most Iranians are very shy, and our culture totally hates warfare. Iran hasn't been in a war for centuries, except the Iraq war where we got attacked. So when you talk to other Iranians, they just want to totally just bypass any kind of discussion about warfare, the United States, anything. It just they're just incapable of dealing with this chronic disease. But this is also a chronic disease that this society imposes on other countries, that they cannot. They're always feeling invaded. I don't know what will become of these two issues, because there are two issues that are outside of me and beyond my control. And the, there have been other issues with the housing and racism, and the only way I could deal with it is wherever I'm confronted with these issues, is just totally dump whoever. For example, if it's a company renting to me or it's a job, just totally dump them and go elsewhere. I mean, it just totally bypass them. And no matter what they say or what money is there, it just I cannot deal with this. I'm moving on. And just by moving on. What makes me sad is that I had spent a lot of money on my education, and I was hoping to get professional jobs as an engineer, and but all the jobs that I have had were not good jobs. I had some jobs as technicians, but they kind of fizzled away. It was a real waste. I think the U.S. companies as like glorified companies in the banana republic. There are jobs, but there's always something missing, something wrong with them. I used to work for this Chinese restaurant as a waiter, and one time at the end of the year, the Chinese announced that we're gonna have an employee party, and they added this big bash, and it was a real surprise to me because I had never seen a company kind of express some type of gratitude toward employees and give them bonuses, and I mean it was always something that was reserved for the high-ranking U.S. companies, that they just give their own inner crowd, and I was never part of the inner crowd. I think that what I wish for U.S. companies is to go out of business and their companies be acquired by foreigners, because the U.S. companies suck and they don't value employees or people. They should just go and hire machinery and robots. There is no affinity of any kind towards people, and their government just keeps going out and making more wars and killing more people. Basically, they suck. These chronic diseases that are social, I have not too many solutions for them. And well, I was thinking about these things in the Sufi Temple. I had this inspiration or idea that some problems you just gotta give them to God and let the tide of time wash them away, because it just depletes all your psychic and spiritual and mental energies, and there are no answers. And many of these companies that were tormenting me, they are either going out of business, or they have gone out of business, or I moved away from where I was having to deal with them. Or it's just some kind of solution, but it's more like an erosion of some kind. And I'm now older and on retirement, so basically in the career mode, it has really sucked, and I did not get any kind of position or job that I wanted, and it seemed that I'm on a lower tier. Like most companies, when they hire high-level employees, they look for white and or somebody who's not on a hostile footing with them, or they were on hostile footing with him. Anyhow, I guess this video, there is some information on dealing with chronic diseases that are physical, and the other solution or remedy that I have is in dealing with depression and mental problems. And the way you deal with depression and mental problems is by meditation and by prayer and turning in. Okay, always being active spiritually and mentally, and divesting yourself from the outside world. If it's always doing something that you don't want it to do, just by letting go, letting it be, whatever, and realizing that what's out there is not you, and there's sometimes little you can do to change or improve that. One other big problem that I had, and there seemed to be very little remedy for it, was when I was working as a taxi driver, and even now when I go to gym, and that's dealing with alcoholics and some very aggressive people who wanted to fight all the time and provoke fist fights, and also gays that were very aggressive, and it was just I had to learn how to divest from these situations, and they are not usually very easy. I think that the Americans, they are very prone to violence, and they continuously provoke other countries, and they provoke each other. And I learned all these techniques for keeping customers at arm's length, there are some ways of defensive talking, and defensive ways of but basically the only solution seems to be establishing rapport and practicing personal diplomacy. I don't know if there is very many solutions to dealing with these issues. If you pursue women and you have an active interest in women, and that's very enjoyable, and it takes the tension and hostility out of the air. But also the other thing that helps is establishing an intellectual discussion and talk about the stuff that's interesting. Well, thank you for being in my video channel. I know this video is a little bit dreary. I just ramble about the stuff that are chronic diseases and how to deal with them. I had a friend who died from depression, and he was taking antidepressants, and he stopped, and things went south like a little while after that. If someone has depression, I don't have depression, I don't think they should stop taking their medication, and also prayer and meditation, and having an active spiritual life is very important. But we had a very good discussion a couple of days before he passed away or he died, and I could sense something was very wrong. I don't know if you have had experience with psychics. They can tell when someone is about to pass away, but I didn't want to tell his girlfriend anything I knew something was very wrong, and I tried to get him to take care of his necessities a lot better. But I wish you best of luck, and if you have any comments, please share with me. Thank you.